Who am I? Does anyone know the answer to that? My name is Sarah, I'm 21, and I'm from Livermore, California, currently residing in Los Angeles. It was hard for me to even attempt to make friends. Like, I was so scared to even try to branch out from Haley's friend group.
Like, how far back am I going? Like, you have to warm me up. We can't just go into, like, we have to have a discussion here. Like...
Haley, my twin sister, was the very extroverted one. She spoke all the time. She spoke for me, she spoke over me. So I was always really quiet, and I never really had much to say. I had a lot to think, but not a lot to say.
Well, I have a twin. I don't know if you're an introvert still, but like when we were growing up, you were introverted, I was extroverted. You were quiet, I was loud. You're into cameras and movie making and cinema, and I'm into science and the environment. You like SoCal, I like NorCal. I remember punching you a lot, and I remember one time you got, I don't even know what you're doing, but you got mad at me and you're annoying me and you had like your ears covered and you're going la 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 la. So I decided to take you by the shoulders and hit you in the stomach. Do you remember that? What was the other part of the question?
Tell us about your family.
I have a mom and a dad who are together.
My dad is super laid back and like chill, but my mom is very, I think high strung would be the word. Super anxious all the time, which is also very much me. So I think I got a good mixture of that growing up.
I was 17. I really wanted to do an ancestry test just to find out things, you know.
To learn more about her background, I guess. We were at school and she got a message. It said, hey, like, I think that I could possibly be like your sibling, like I'm related to you.
I texted my mom. I was like, what is going on? Why are people messaging me saying that they are my siblings? So she's like, we'll talk when you get home. And I was like, okay, well. So we went home.
And they are kind of just sitting at our dining room table, super serious looking. And they were like, hey girls, we need to talk to you. Like, can you sit down for a sec? And I was like, uh-oh, did somebody die? Like, what's happening? My dad just started crying. I was like, oh no, this is bad. Something's bad. And they told us that after 13 years of trying to conceive us, they ended up deciding to use a sperm donor.
I basically grew up without parents from the age of 11 on. So yeah, having kids just wasn't something I was thinking about until I met your mother. Both your mother and I are infertility patients. You know, having our first child, Megan, it took 6 years of giving medications, shots, going back and forth to the doctors. So it was quite difficult. You know, not be able to have not be able to have a child of my own was difficult. But all three of my girls, they're definitely my children. So it all worked out. I don't know why. It's still painful for me, but it is.
My mom wanted to tell us, but my dad was afraid that we wouldn't see him as our dad anymore once we knew this information, which is totally not the case because he's the one that raised us. And a father to me is the person that's raising you, that's in your life. It doesn't matter that it's not his DNA.
He thought we were gonna like not disown him, but be like, use that card that kids probably would use if they're younger, like, you're not my dad, like you see in the movies for like stepdads and things. In my brain, at least, it didn't shift. I mean, our dad was still our dad, our mom was still our mom. I feel like the same roles and everything.
And that's how we related to this guy that was messaging her.
I was raised by my mom and my nana, single mother by choice. It was pretty normal. It was all right. I don't know. I just recently wrote like an essay on this, and it was like, I feel like being raised by like women, it has made me like more empathetic, given me like a different perspective of like masculinity, I guess, than like you would with a father figure. And a couple months later, I just randomly decided to log on again, and it popped up like parent/child match, and I was like, what? I found out that I was only sperm donor conceived at first, and then a year later I found out that I was both sperm and egg donor conceived. I don't know, I think of it kind of like as like a build a baby. So she selected the egg donor and she selected the sperm donor. The Lizzie was the first one that I like reached out to. So I found her Instagram and I DM'd her on Instagram, and it took her a couple days to respond, but I was like so nerve-wracked doing that. But she responded. She was super nice. I don't know, I was just really excited, so I just jumped right on it.
Growing up in New York City was definitely a great experience in terms of like not having a nuclear family. I was raised by a single mother by choice, never really found anyone that she wanted to marry, and so she wanted a child and decided she was going to do it herself. Like a bad... Got a response from Evan saying, like, you were talking to my mom, I saw her emails, and I'm like, my friend was like sitting in bed next to me, and I'm like, you know, oh my god.
Evan and Lizzie messaged me together. They're like, hey.
We all got in contact, and, you know, within a few months, they were coming to New York City, and it was just such a surreal experience.
I was kind of really scared meeting Lizzie for the first time, and then as soon as I opened the door, she just ran up to me and gave me a hug, so I was like, oh, okay, let's chill.
It felt like an instant connection. I was like, wait, you look like me. That's kind of weird.
I was like a little nervous. I mean, it was exciting still, but I think it was awkward because we're all just like young kids meeting other young kids. So it was just like, who are you? I don't know. Guess we're related.
I had a pretty good childhood growing up. I was raised by my mom and her friend Mickey.
Mickey, she's someone who helped raise us. I guess she took the spot of father, because for like Mother's Day, we made cards for my mom, and then for Father's Day, we just made cards for Mickey.
I don't know exactly when my sisters found out. They were probably just as young as I was, like maybe 6 or something like that.
I know my mom told me when we were really young, and I didn't really know what that meant because I always had Mickey and my mom.
I was just really excited to find out that I was the oldest of the group, because that's what I've known all my life, is just being a big sister. So having more little ones to, I wouldn't say y'all look up to me very much because I'm kind of a mess in my own regard, but I hope that the vibe is still at least there.
I had a single mom. Never had like a father figure or anyone in the house that filled that role. My mom died when I was 11 years old. So I don't know when I was told. I just knew. Like, especially with a single mom, you can't hide it. At some point, someone's gonna ask, oh, where's your dad? And I just like, I don't have one.
Oh, it was $50 per donation. My name is Rick Shand. 47 years old. I'm originally from Bay Area, California, but spent most of my life in Arizona. Honestly, I was in chiropractic school. I figured I was young, I was single, I was broke, so it wasn't a bad idea. But I didn't do it right away, actually. Probably a couple months later, I had another friend in chiropractic school, and she was talking about how her and her girlfriend would someday want to have a baby. So there was a whole other conversation about sperm donation. So I thought, how cool would it be to help people have families that couldn't have families on their own? So shortly after that is when I decided to do it. When the first person contacted me, it was like a holy cow, this is real type of thing. Like before I knew you guys were out there, but it was just still kind of that, like in the background of my mind. But you know, when I first started to get to know people, then it became real. And it's just really cool just to get to see everybody and, you know, see all the different personalities. It's funny because a lot of them have the same thing where I do in a nervous situation. I make a lot of jokes. So it's like when we got together, it was just within minutes, everybody was just laughing, and it calmed the nervousness down. So it was great.
All of us really just have like an inherent kindness to us is what I've noticed. Like the vibes are always great and nobody's a jerk. And I think out of like, if we know 14 people, like I think statistically one of them has to be, and we haven't found one yet. So it's all great.
I think a lot of us are like really into like photography, and so, you know, whenever we meet up, there's at least like 5 or 6 cameras around.
Can I say mental illness? We're all anxious, and a lot of us have ADHD and anxiety and depression.
Kind of adapt to different situations. I think I'm chill, but also I have anxiety.
I think I am a lot more empathetic than, I don't know, otherwise raised.
I try my hardest to recognize what other people are feeling, like if they're uncomfortable and if they need to. Is empathetic the word?
I was pretty depressed in my like teenage years, and I thought there was just something wrong with me, you know, like always anxious, like always not wanting to be around people. So I guess there was some happiness missing in like the general sense. I mean, I had my family and I love them to bits, but friendship-wise, it's a different dynamic between friends and between like your family. Family doesn't stop at blood. Just because a parent had to use a donor doesn't mean that they are not your parent. They raised you. They're your parent. I guess I'm mostly talking to my dad. We value him so much as our father. He's the one that raised us. And it doesn't matter that we have a biological dad. He is our dad, and that's that.
I didn't want you girls to feel differently about me. So we kept that up quite a bit. It's and once you wait so long, then it makes it more difficult to tell you because it was a lie. I didn't want to be caught in a lie. Both you girls have come around quite a bit, and I feel so close to you girls as far as you accepting me. You know, I was pretty confident in, you know, me being your father, and there was no hesitation for me. And everything has just become more comfortable now that you're getting into adulthood.
One of the reasons that I actually wanted to make this film was for you. I wanted you to know that because give me a second. I can't even form words. I want you to know that it doesn't change anything. You are my dad. You raised me. We are your kids, okay? And that's who we are. We don't think any different of you.
Well, I thank you for that. That means a great deal to me.
And at first I was kind of weary about having Rick come on for interviews because I didn't want you to feel as if I was maybe betraying you, because I didn't really feel like I needed to meet him or anything. He's just someone that helped bring me to you.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure he's a great guy. And he did a good thing by being a donor. And I'm sorry if this sounds harsh, but he's just a sperm donor. And I am your father, and I know that.
I love you, sweetie.